My beloved child, before you listen to another word, I want you to stop for 10 seconds and come close to me. Lay down the worries you carried into this day. Release the pressure to have every answer. Let me hold you in a strong embrace. Breathe slowly. Rest your tired heart against mine. Feel my peace reaching the places inside you that have become exhausted from pretending to be strong. I know the tears you wiped away before anyone could see them. I know the prayers that became whispers because disappointment visited your heart too many times. I know the moments you wondered if I still remembered your name. This message is not an accident. I arranged this moment because I saw you standing at a crossroads, caught between holding on and giving up. I know you are weary, but stay with me until the end because what I'm about to reveal may completely change the way you understand your present season. My child, there is an invisible chain that binds many hearts, and it is not failure, poverty, or suffering. It is the fear of people's opinions. You have allowed criticism, rejection, comparisons, and painful memories to speak louder than my voice. There were moments when I urged you to step forward, but you hesitated because you feared being misunderstood. I invited you to forgive, but you worried others would call you weak. I placed dreams, testimonies, and assignments inside your heart, yet you remained silent because you feared judgment. Little by little, human approval became more important than heavenly peace. But I never created you to live beneath the shadow of public opinion. I did not call you to spend your life proving your worth to people whose opinions shift like the wind. I called you to walk as my beloved child, secure in my love, because the most painful loss is not being disliked by people, but missing the moment when I open a door that I intended only for you. I know there are days when your soul grows tired because the journey seems longer than you expected. You look around and watch others celebrate answered prayers while your own requests seem suspended in silence. You ask yourself if I have forgotten you, if your waiting has been meaningless, or if you somehow missed your opportunity. But my child, my silence has never been my absence. Some of the deepest works I perform happen where human eyes cannot see. I have been rearranging circumstances, protecting you from doors that would have wounded your spirit, separating you from relationships that could not enter your future, and strengthening your character so you can carry what I have prepared. If your spiritual clock seems slower than someone else's, it is because I am teaching you to trust me beyond emotions, beyond visible evidence, and beyond the opinions of those who cannot see what I am doing behind the scenes. The seed beneath the soil appears lifeless before it becomes a harvest, and you are much closer to your season of fruitfulness than you realize. My beloved child, do not allow busyness to extinguish the fire that once burned brightly inside you. Many people do not walk away from me through rebellion. They drift away through distraction. They convince themselves they will return when life becomes easier, pray when they have more time, and obey when circumstances improve. Yet some moments are divine appointments that should never be postponed. That restlessness you feel, the emptiness that no achievement can satisfy, and the longing for something deeper are not punishments. They are my invitations calling you back into intimacy with me. I do not need perfection from you. I only need your willingness. I only need one honest step toward me, because there are seasons when heaven watches most closely. And what happens in the next stage of your journey may determine whether you step into the promise you prayed for or walk away just moments before seeing it unfold. There is another truth I want you to understand, my beloved child. Because many people lose their peace at the very moment they are standing closest to their breakthrough. When pressure increases, when discouragement becomes heavier, and when your heart begins whispering that you cannot continue, that is often when the enemy works the hardest. It cannot steal the plans I have written for your life, but it will try to convince you to surrender them yourself. It will remind you of old failures, magnify every delay, and make unanswered prayers seem like evidence that I have forgotten you. But I have not forgotten a single tear you cried in secret. I have not ignored one prayer spoken through trembling lips. I have watched you smile in front of others while carrying battles within that no one else could understand. Do not mistake resistance for rejection. Some of the greatest blessings begin to appear at the exact moment when people become tired enough to walk away. And I do not want you to become someone who leaves the field just before the harvest begins to rise. My beloved child, comparison has stolen enough joy from your life. You look at others celebrating answered prayers, new opportunities, restored relationships, and open doors, while your own journey feels slower and more uncertain. Questions begin filling your mind. Why them and not me? Why does their season seem easier? Why do I keep waiting? But you cannot compare stories when you cannot see the entire process. I have not written identical journeys for my children. Some blessings require deeper roots, stronger faith, and greater preparation because they carry responsibilities that others may never have to bear. What you call delay, I often call protection. There were places you wanted to enter that would have drained your peace. There were people you fought to keep who could not walk beside you into your future. There were opportunities you desperately requested that would have distracted you from your true purpose. Trust that I have never delayed anything to harm you. I have only protected what belongs to you until your heart was ready to receive it with wisdom, gratitude, and peace. I also want you to be careful about distractions because not every distraction looks dangerous. Some distractions arrive disguised as success, comfort, busyness, entertainment, or endless responsibilities. Slowly, they consume your attention until you wake up one day realizing that you have spoken more to your worries than you have spoken to me. The enemy understands that if it cannot destroy your destiny, it will attempt to divert your focus. It wants you chasing approval, recognition, and temporary accomplishments while neglecting the relationship that gives your soul lasting rest. Yet nothing in this world can satisfy the emptiness created when distance grows between us. The restless nights, the unexplained longing for something deeper, and the gentle conviction stirring within your heart are not punishments. They are my invitation asking you to come back and sit with me again. Bring me your fears, your disappointments, your doubts, and your unanswered questions. You do not need polished prayers. I simply desire your honest heart, because there are answers waiting in my presence that cannot be discovered anywhere else. So today, my beloved child, I ask you not to quit. Rest if you are weary. Cry if your heart feels overwhelmed. Sit quietly with me when words no longer come easily. But do not surrender the promise you once prayed for with tears in your eyes. There is a difference between resting and giving up. Rest allows me to renew your strength, heal your wounds, and remind you that you are deeply loved. Giving up convinces you to abandon the very blessing you have waited years to receive. I did not carry you through painful seasons, lonely nights, and impossible battles simply to leave you standing at the edge of defeat. You have survived storms that once seemed certain to destroy you, and I remained faithful through every one of them. Hold tightly to my hand, even if all you possess is a small thread of hope, because what I want to show you next may completely transform the way you see your future and reveal why this season has felt unlike anything you have ever experienced. My beloved child, there is something I have wanted you to understand for a very long time, because the day you truly accept it, many of the fears that have ruled your heart will finally lose their power. You have spent so much energy focusing on what has not happened that you have almost forgotten everything I have already done. You keep looking at closed doors, delayed answers, and opportunities that slipped away, while I see the countless dangers I protected you from, the battles I fought for you when you did not even realize they existed, and the moments I carried you when your own strength was completely gone. I remember every night you cried yourself to sleep believing no one understood your pain. I remember every prayer that ended with silence because you no longer knew what to say. I remember every moment you wanted to walk away, yet somehow found enough courage to keep taking one more step. If I remained faithful in those darkest valleys, why would I abandon you now when you are standing closer than ever to a new chapter? The pressure you feel today is not evidence that I have left you. Sometimes pressure increases because transformation is taking place, and what feels uncomfortable now may actually be preparing you for the greatest season of growth you have ever experienced. My beloved child, stop allowing your past to introduce you to your future. Too many of my children continue living under the shadow of old mistakes, painful betrayals, missed opportunities, and words spoken over them by people who never understood their purpose. You have replayed old failures so many times that they have begun to sound like your identity. But I never called you by your worst moments. I never defined you by the chapters you regret. I see the person who kept loving after being hurt, who kept praying after being disappointed, who kept showing kindness while carrying wounds no one else could see. The enemy constantly reminds you of who you used to be because it fears the person you are becoming. It fears the day you stop apologizing for existing. It fears the day you stop seeking validation from people and begin finding security in my love alone. The struggles you survived were not designed to destroy your future. They were preparing your heart, strengthening your faith, and teaching you to depend on me in ways comfort never could. One day, you will look back and realize that the very seasons you begged me to remove were often the seasons that shaped the strongest, wisest, and most compassionate parts of who you are today. My beloved child, I do not want you waking up every morning expecting disappointment. I want you to begin expecting my goodness again. I want you to pray with confidence instead of fear. I want you to believe that peace can return, that joy can be restored, and that hope is still alive even if your circumstances have not yet changed. You do not need to understand every detail of my plan in order to trust me. A child walking beside a loving father does not need to know every turn in the road to feel safe. In the same way, I ask you to trust my heart even when you cannot trace my footsteps. Continue taking small steps of obedience. Continue thanking me before you see the answer. Continue believing that I am working even when emotions tell you otherwise. Faith is not pretending that pain does not exist. Faith is choosing to believe that I remain good even when life becomes difficult. It is choosing to keep moving forward while holding tightly to my hand, knowing that what seems impossible to you has never been impossible for me. And now, my beloved child, hear me clearly and hold these words close to your heart. Do not stop here. Do not become someone who turns back just before witnessing the answer they spent years praying for. Let your story be different. Let it be said that even when your faith was tested, you continued believing. Even when tears blurred your vision, you kept walking. Even when the road became lonely and uncertain, you refused to let fear make your decisions. I am not merely preparing a temporary blessing for you. I am teaching you to live with deeper peace, stronger faith, greater wisdom, and an unshakable understanding that you are deeply loved, fully known, and never abandoned. Stay close to me. Protect your heart from distractions. Return to me daily, even if all you can offer is a few honest words and a willing spirit. Keep moving forward one faithful step at a time, because the page you thought was ending is actually the first page of a beautiful beginning that I have been writing for you all along, and very soon you will understand why I never allowed you to give up.